working for you.
Hurricane Alley, 4 powerful hurricanes led by George bearing down on the U.S. Millions of Americans bracing for the worst. Is it payday for Paula Jones? President Clinton apparently willing to make a big money deal to finally close that case. In depth tonight, the war on cancer. What we've learned since Richard Nixon started the battle, how far still to go. And very encouraging news tonight for the 40 million Americans who suffer the misery of the flu.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. Hurricane George remains on the move tonight, tearing up the Florida Keys as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. And forecasters are worried that it will pick up strength and then possibly head for Louisiana and Alabama as its next targets. George is not alone, it turns out. 3 other hurricanes are taking shape in the Atlantic, as this is turning out to be the worst hurricane season in 100 years. NBC's Frederica Whitfield is in Florida tonight with the latest on the one to worry about at the moment, however. Frederica?
Tom, the worst of Hurricane George has passed the lower Keys. The mandatory evacuation order lifted. Soon, state and federal officials will begin assessing the damage here. George's latest target, Florida's vulnerable lower Keys, a string of unprotected islands. Following an evacuation of nearly 80,000 people, today, hurricane-force winds of up to 105 miles per hour fan out nearly 45 miles from the storm's eye. Key West takes a direct hit. Officials say the damage from this Category 2 hurricane may be severe. Hugging South Florida with spiraling bands of rain since early morning, Georgia's center stays on a westerly track, sparing the 2 million people in the Miami area just north of the Keys. A relief for the Garza family, who stayed in their concrete home only 5 miles north of Key Largo.
I have doubts about it now, but now I guess it's too late for us to go someplace else.
The devastation in the Florida Keys comes after George pounds a series of northern Caribbean islands for 6 days straight. Hardest hit, the impoverished island of Hispaniola, shared by the Dominican Republic and Haiti, slammed by 120-mile-per-hour winds. Today, in the Dominican Republic, many trudge through waist-high water in search of fresh drinking water. More than 200 here killed in floods and mudslides.
This is a disaster. We have no government here. There is no government here to see this.
In Cuba, coastal flooding, 20,000 homes and sugarcane crops destroyed. In most of Puerto Rico, still no power or running water. More FEMA workers are on the way.
We are still working very hard in Puerto Rico to make sure that we do get everything up and running very quickly for the people down there that's been completely devastated.
Tonight, as National Guard troops move into the Keys, officials fear George may not be finished. The Atlantic's 6th hurricane of the season may strengthen as it heads west into the Gulf, develop into a Category 3 hurricane, and threaten the lower Gulf states. Tonight, George is churning in the Gulf with 90-mile-per-hour winds, but with the warm water, it could be fueled, say forecasters who expect that Hurricane George could churn winds of 150 miles per hour before it makes landfall again within the next 48 hours, Tom.
Thank you very much, Frederica Whitfield, tonight. Let's check in now with a look at where George is headed this weekend, what's behind it. Max Mayfield once again tonight at the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Max, is it going to hit the Gulf Coast, Alabama, and Louisiana?
Well, it will somewhere. As you said earlier, Tom, this is one of 4 hurricanes we have out there. That's never happened this century. We have to go back to 1893 to find a record with 4 hurricanes at the same time. But it doesn't really matter how many we have. What really counts is where they make landfall and how strong they are at landfall. And George is moving towards the northwest. We have a hurricane watch up from St. Mark's, Florida, over to Morgan City, Louisiana. A portion of that will likely be upgraded to a hurricane warning either tonight or early tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you very much, Max Mayfield. All of you in the Gulf Coast now, you've been forewarned. Still ahead tonight, NBC News in Depth. A rallying cry in the war on cancer. Tomorrow's March on Washington. On hand will be 2 mothers whose personal battles became a public crusade.
You're talking about 2 moms that have been through this with their children,
that have grown close and are working on this project where we want to change the world.
Foot soldiers in the war on cancer trying to save lives by raising awareness across the country. And the art of the deal. Is President Clinton ready to make a cash settlement with Paula Jones?
Morning seems so much brighter after a good night's sleep. That's why I love my Tylenol PM. Sometimes I have trouble sleeping. I used to worry about taking something. How would I feel in the morning? And then I tried Tylenol PM. It stops my pain and helps me sleep. So in the morning, I'm rested, refreshed, ready to make the most of my day.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
You thought it was over with, but you're still smoking. You keep trying to quit, but you keep lighting up. Zyban can help you look at quitting a whole new way. It's the nicotine in cigarettes that's addictive. It's been proven, and most people need help to quit. Today, there's nicotine-free Zyban. Not a patch, not a gum. Instead, the first pill that is part of a comprehensive program from your doctor can help you quit smoking. Zyban is prescription medicine that can help reduce your urge to smoke and make quitting bearable. It's important to know there's a risk of seizure associated with Zyban. To reduce the risk, don't take Zyban if you've had an eating or seizure disorder or are being treated with Wellbutrin. Don't take Zyban if you're taking an MAO inhibitor. Quitting is tough, and Zyban won't work for everyone. See your doctor or pharmacist for information written especially for patients. Ask your doctor if Zyban is right for you. And break free from nicotine. Break free from smoking.
Sunday, can the president get a deal with Congress? Three wise men weigh in. Bob Dole, Howard Baker, and Leon Panetta. Plus Dianne Feinstein's first live interview on the crisis on Meet the Press.
The House Judiciary Committee voted tonight to release an edited version of the Linda Tripp tapes, the secretly recorded conversations in which Monica Lewinsky talked at length about her relationship with President Clinton. The editing will be done to protect the privacy of people who are discussed but have nothing to do with the Ken Starr investigation. The tapes themselves could be made public in about 10 days, but transcripts of the tapes will be released next Thursday, along with 60,000 more pages of background material from the Ken Starr investigation.
It is time now for
today
Congress to buckle down, to send me the measures to keep the government open and to invest in education and health care and other needs of the American people.
The president comes out at a time when he needs cooperation with, and we need cooperation from him, with the Congress, and he takes a gratuitous slap, jumps on a plane, and runs off for 3 days of fundraising. Now, is he the fundraiser-in-chief, or is he the commander-in-chief?
Well, what you saw there was President Clinton today on a fundraising trip, and before he left, he did have that to say about what is going on Capitol Hill, and he was answered very quickly by the Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott. And there is the possibility, of course, of a deal between President Clinton and the lawyers representing Paula Jones. We get the latest on that now from NBC's Lisa Myers.
While the president was campaigning today for Democrats in Chicago, his lawyers were negotiating a possible cash settlement in the sexual harassment case which led to the current impeachment crisis. Sources say Paula Jones' lawyers made the first move 2 weeks ago, removing what has been a big obstacle for the president, her demand for an apology. And she now offers to settle for $1 million, most of which would pay legal fees. Then 2 days ago, sources say, the president's lawyer, Bob Bennett, called Jones' lawyers asking if they would take $500,000, a call Bennett certainly would not have made without the president's okay. Just last month, in his grand jury testimony, the president called the Jones case bogus, the work of his enemies.
And so they just thought they would take a wrecking ball to me and see if they could do some damage.
So why would he settle now?
The president has a tremendous amount on his plate at the moment. And if he could get this lawsuit disposed of, it would just be useful to him to have one fewer thing to have to worry about.
One worry, his own lawyer tells him there's some chance an appeals court could reinstate the case. And if the case is settled, there's less pressure for the judge to hold the president in contempt for lying, which the judge has signaled she just might do. As for Paula Jones, why would she drop her demand for an apology? because sources say she needs the money and already feels partially vindicated.
I'm saying a large, substantial financial settlement is a way to say I'm accountable, I did something here. It may not be I'm sorry, but then the fact that she's vindicated with all the other things, it's very important.
Tonight, neither side is certain they can reach a settlement, especially since it would have to be blessed by Hillary Clinton, and sources say she has not yet weighed in. But the president's political advisors believe that since most Americans already think something happened between Bill Clinton and Paula Jones, a settlement could hardly do much damage. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
Other news tonight. On Wall Street, the day got off to a rough start, but after dropping more than 100 points in early trading, the Dow ended up today almost up 27 points. The NASDAQ also was up today, up more than 23 points. The week, the Dow gained more than 133 points. The NASDAQ climbed almost 80 points for the week. When we come back, NBC News in depth tonight, the war on cancer, the inspiring story of two mothers, their personal battle, their national campaign to raise awareness.
Honey, is there any of that chicken cacciatore left?
Look in the freezer.
Hefty One Zip with the hefty slider that clicks closed for freshness. Hefty One Zip, the hefty duty food bag. Hefty One Zip with the hefty slider that clicks closed for freshness.
The little guy's got spunk.
Hefty One Zip, the hefty duty food bag.
When I have arthritis pain, I want relief fast. I can't wait. When I rub in Aspercreme, it brings fast relief for minor arthritis pain. The relief lasts for hours, and it's odor-free.
Aspercreme, pain relief without aspirin.
At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new nail guard tires, we added a few to our test track. Nail guard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
The drawing rooms of London had not prepared us for this new world. We were overcome by the very fruits and birds and trees.
Introducing British Classics.
The air was thick with perfume.
A marriage of Victorian elegance and Caribbean soul.
The seduction was complete. It changed us forever.
British Classics from Ethan Allen, where everyone's at home. There's a sale on now.
Dateline Friday. They were good kids with academic honors and scholarships. So why did these 14 secretly call themselves the Lords of Chaos? Why did they go on a vandalous rampage, arson, burglary, and more? And what drove them to commit the ultimate crime of murder? A chilling all-new Dateline Friday, 8/7 Central on NBC.
NBC News in depth tonight. It's being called Coming Together to Conquer Cancer. It's a march in Washington tomorrow and rallies all across the country to raise awareness about the disease that claims so many lives. In fact, cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States. 1 in every 4 deaths in this country is being blamed on cancer. So a quarter century later, where does the war on cancer stand? How far have we come? December 23rd, 1971, Washington, D.C., President Nixon declares war on cancer.
I will also ask for an appropriation of an extra $100 million to launch an intensive campaign to find a cure for cancer.
That $100 million has grown to $36 billion to fight not one disease, but more than 200 separate forms of cancer.
A disease that will play a much less damaging role in society than it currently does.
While there is optimism, the hard numbers tell a hard truth. Each year, 1.2 million new cases, 546,000 deaths. More than 1,500 will die today and every day of cancer. But progress is being made. In 1991, the death rate started to ease down slightly. Lung cancer down 2.6%. Prostate cancer down 6.3%. Breast cancer down 6.7%. How? Well, scientists know more about the disease. It's caused mostly by genetic defects, abnormal cell growths.
And it's my hope that they'll keep me alive and well long enough till research produces better treatments, possibly cures for me.
Finally, the annual cost of this war, it's $107 billion. Money, research, and time. Potent ingredients to help keep Wendy Helpham and millions like her alive. Among those who will join in tomorrow's march, two mothers. When confronted with the discovery that their own young daughters had cancer, the women found each other and they found a new calling. NBC's Bob Thaw tonight continues our in-depth reporting.
It's so good to meet you.
When they came together this week for the first time, it was as if they had never been apart. Two mothers, Tracy Clark of Columbia, Maryland, and Kathy Kales, who lives 500 miles away near Columbia, South Carolina, linked by sickness and hope. The good times have been rare. Each of their daughters, 6-year-old Morgan and 6-year-old Tammy, each has cancer.
Devastating doesn't even start to explain it. Your world goes from okay to totally upside down.
You know, the shots, all the shots, I mean, at some points there were 5 people have to hold her down to give her shots.
And you had to watch.
Yeah, I was one of the people that held her down.
In her confusion and despair, Tracy turned to the internet, logging countless hours, scouring sites for information and for relief.
You can sit there in your underwear at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning and, you know, type out whatever you want.
Via computer, dozens responded. At one parent support group website, Tracy found Kathy, and they forged a bond.
We both know, what it's like to have a child that you don't know is going to be here tomorrow.
They not only communicated, they decided to promote awareness of cancer in children and organize the sewing of quilts in 22 states. Every quilt with 50 panels, each honoring a childhood cancer victim.
Even though she has passed away, she's still with us, and, she's never left us.
The mothers found that quilts like this provide some consolation for grieving or worried parents.
It gives them a sense of peace knowing that their children are not going to be forgotten.
As for their children, both Morgan and Tammy's cancer are in remission. Each is thriving. As is the relationship of their mothers.
Once that bond is there,
it's everlasting. Yeah. I mean, I really believe that.
Tomorrow, this Yankee and this Southerner.
We don't eat bagels in South Carolina.
You don't? You'll take something with you.
We eat grits.
These two moms will take part in that Washington March, which is meant to affirm everything that is possible. These two already know. Bob Thaw, NBC News, Washington.
One more note about fighting cancer. After 72 days at sea, 31-year-old Ben LeComte is the first person to swim the Atlantic Ocean. When he came ashore today in France after his 3,700-mile trip from Massachusetts, he had raised $175,000 for cancer research. And when he proposed marriage to his girlfriend, the answer was yes. Presumably no honeymoon at sea. Still ahead tonight, a tiny airport with huge ambitions. But is this just another example of the fleecing of America? And important health news tonight, a new approach to fighting the flu that could make cold and the flu season a lot less miserable.
One 3-layer wedding cake, done.
3? Should be 6.
Bayer relieves the inflammation that can cause arthritis pain and stiffness. Tylenol can't. And taken regularly, only Bayer can help save your life by reducing the risk of another heart attack. Ask your doctor.
Ta-da! It's beautiful.
Bayer, powerful pain relief and so much more. Also try Extra Strength Bayer PM, the only nighttime aspirin.
When some people have allergies, they sneeze a lot. Others get an itchy, runny nose or nasal congestion. Me, I had it all. So I said to my doctor, enough already. He prescribed Flonase nasal spray.
Multi-symptom Flonase. Once a day relieves all nasal allergy symptoms all day and all night long. For any or all of those nasal symptoms.
All it takes is Flonase.
For best results, Flonase must be used daily. Maximum relief may take several days. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Call to learn more. Even kids as young as 4 can use Flonase. For nasal allergy relief, ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase.
When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
Hefty One Zip with the hefty slider that clicks closed for freshness.
The little guy's got spunk.
Hefty One Zip, the hefty duty food bag.
For 97 years, GMC has designed trucks for people who drove them not because they were trendy, but because their lives depended on them. Heroes who measured a truck by its power and its determination. That heritage lives in the new Yukon Denali. A luxury SUV with a 255 horsepower V8. It meets the demands of professionals and the standards of history. The Yukon Denali by GMC.
One of the most irritating and potentially dangerous sickness seasons is coming on fast. It's the flu season, of course, but tonight there's very good news, maybe even breakthrough news, about a treatment that not only promises relief, it may head off the flu altogether. NBC's Robert Hager has more tonight.
2 new prescription drugs under development could relieve coughing, fever, and aching of the flu. 40 million Americans suffer through it each winter. 40,000 more die, mostly the frail and elderly. New hope detailed today at a scientific conference in San Diego.
The drugs are valuable both in prevention and treatment, and they work against both type A and B influenza, and no resistance is associated with them. So I think it's a major advance.
The drugs wouldn't substitute for flu shots, but only 1 of every 4 Americans get the shot, and it doesn't always work, especially if unexpected strains of virus spread.
One of the great things about this is that we now have 2 weapons in the fight against the flu. Flu shots to prevent the flu, and the flu medicine to treat people who get the flu.
There are 2 prescription flu drugs already available, but they're minimally effective, don't work against type B at all, and have side effects. So most patients are simply told to take cough syrup, get plenty of rest, and drink liquids.
One of the new drugs is a pill to be taken twice a day, known so far only as GS4104. The other to be inhaled twice a day is called Relenza. Studies released today claim they reduce severity of symptoms by 25 to 40%. Reduce duration of flu by a day or 2, or taken for a month beforehand, reduce chances of getting flu in the first place. And they don't just attack symptoms, they attack the virus.
The drug is very important. First of all, we haven't had a new antiviral for influenza for more than 20 years.
Both drugs could be up for government approval in several months, means they could be available to ease some of the coughing and sneezing toward the end of next year. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
I'll be right back with a high-flying fleecing of America. But first, as we have heard, there are now 4 hurricanes stacked up in the Atlantic. And although we're just halfway through this hurricane season, next year's hurricane names already have been picked out. How many and what are they? The nightly numbers and names when we come back.
This has got to be wrong.
What?
Our long-distance bill.
That high, huh?
No, that low.
People who use 10-10-3-2-1 are doing a double take on their long-distance bill.
Must be someone else's.
You save over AT&T on every call in the U.S.
Every call is less, and all the calls over 20 minutes are 50% less.
You just dial 10-10-3-2-1, then 1, the area code and number.
And the international rates are great. I could get used to this. Let's call someone.
Okay.
10-10-3-2-1.
Oh,
your mother.
Welcome to My Mailboxes, etc. You know, this may look like a regular mailbox, but let me tell you the secret. You get a street address, not just a P.O. box number. That means we can sign for your FedEx shipments and other packages. You get an entire support staff. Where else are you going to be able to call and check your mail? I mean, come on, who's going to do that for you? We'll also forward that mail anywhere in the world. Can your mailbox do that?
You could win $50,000. Play What's in the Box, now at your neighborhood mailboxes, etc.
How come you do me like you do? How come you do
Even
me
if you can't always treat your wood furniture with kid gloves, always treat it to Pledge. Because Pledge does what's right for your wood. Its condition is cared for and protected far longer than dusting sprays. So treat your furniture like you do. And where life goes on, let Pledge go on. S.C. Johnson Wax.
Do you, Yahoo?
Channel 4 News, working for you.
Straight ahead on the scene at 6, 150,000 people are without power at this hour as Hurricane George pummels South Florida. We'll have the latest and tell you about relief efforts during the scene at 6 today.
Tonight, the fleecing of America. Big dreams, big promises, big bucks for a project that was supposed to bring the world to a corner of North Carolina, but it's not worked out that way. And a Southern foundation that keeps a wary eye on government projects is charging fleece. Here's NBC's Fred Francis.
Everyone agrees it began as a big dream, that this rural tobacco country would become a kind of field of dreams for North Carolina. That if they built it, prosperity would come. It would be a high-tech magnet for giant cargo planes carrying goods all over the world. That it would create tens of thousands of jobs in a depressed area.
The effort is to keep North Carolina ahead in the global world and to try to provide more jobs and better jobs for North Carolinians.
They all hoped the global trans park would be booming today. But after 7 years and 34 million state and federal tax dollars, little has changed, says John Hood of the John Locke Foundation, a conservative public interest group.
This is a major fleecing of America. It is an outrage that this amount of money could be spent with no serious rationale or agenda.
One study originally predicted by now this commuter airstrip could have been lengthened to handle fleets of 747s. That all the new business would create 55,000 jobs and mean nearly $3 billion to the state's economy. But Global Trans Park says that's now all blue sky wishful thinking, that their goals are more modest, and progress has been delayed by routine government agency reviews.
These projects require two things. They require patience and they require persistence.
They lobbied FedEx to locate a regional hub in tiny Kinston. But FedEx chose Greensboro, which is already a major commercial center, served by major highways. But only smaller site highways led to Kinston. The nearest interstate is 50 miles away.
For several years, I've been quietly waiting for this concept to come to fruition. If FedEx, an air cargo company, says no to our air cargo park facility, then who's going to say yes without massive taxpayer subsidies?
So far, the project has strong state and federal backers. Washington just promised another $17 million to extend the runway for what some are calling a high-flying fleecing of America. Fred Francis, NBC News, Raleigh.
That's not the news for this Friday night. Don't forget Dateline tonight at 8, 7 Central Time. They'll have the very latest on Hurricane George. And we'll have coverage throughout the weekend on this NBC station as well. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here on Monday night.
NBC Nightly News is America's most watched evening news program.
It's George, and tonight folks in South Florida are picking up the pieces. Where will the hurricane strike?